Hello, I've opened this in Chief Architect Premier X5, and I'm going to set the plan to allow it to continue to be edited in Home Designer titles. That's what this command here is for. And I'm doing it this way just to cut to the chase, because I don't think Architectural can duplicate this roof. In Pro you could once you learn the manual roof tools, but I can show you how to get this a bit closer than you had it. We'll just do an overview here and take a look. Okay, I'm just going to skip that. It just means that there's some missing materials on your computer. I don't have on my computer. It's not important. Okay. I worked on this some the other day. I think maybe I put the terrain plane in. I don't remember. But the key thing, the main thing is, let me just hit Shift F6. We'll split the screens. Yeah. And zoom in here. I think right now, of course you can't just select on roof planes. No, okay, I've already fixed it some. See right here I've got a 312. I think that's what the blueprints show. And this should be 512. Or excuse me, 612. All right. The way I did that, by the way, and this, although this is Chief Premier, it works exactly the same in Architectural. What I did to get that to happen is you click on this wall here, which this roof plane bears on, open its dialog box, go to the Roof tab, and I told it right here, pitch options. I told the beginning pitch to be 3 feet, 312. And then I wanted that pitch to start at, well, actually, this is wrong. I figured, let me show you here. You click on this wall here, and it shows 6 feet. It's about 6 feet from there to there. And so I wanted the 612 to start right about here. And so you open up this wall dialog, set it to 3, and I'll tell it to start to change, from 312 to 612 at this in from the baseline. I'm going to set it to, set it to 78 inches. That's 6'6". And nothing's happened here because I haven't rebuilt roofs. Let me go ahead and turn automatic build roofs on. I rarely ever use that except when I'm doing tutorials, so you can kind of watch the changes. Okay, I don't know if you noticed it, but now that break line between the 312 and the 612 moved to right where I told it to go. Let me show you. It's right there. See a little green thing? That's where the 312 stops and the 612 begins. And that's pretty much true also on this side. I'm going to do the same thing, same command in here. It's about the same distance. You click on the wall, about 6 feet. We'll open this wall's dialog box, go to the Roof tab, it's set to 312, and the upper pitch it's at 6, and I want that to in from the baseline, at 78 inches. I've got auto build rules on, so it ought to make that change automatically. Now, of course, it put a hip there on the rest of this roof. That's what I'm talking about. This wall here should be marked full gable, and it is, but the software is ignoring that command. So, what are you going to do? Well, what you should do is get Home Designer Pro, but maybe you can just use this model that I'm making here. Now, the back, we'll move over here to the back, change this screen, and we'll twirl that around. Yeah, there it is. I think I've kind of, you can see it's not breaking. It's not breaking over this wall. I looked at your blueprint and I couldn't figure out the scaling on it. It's 332, and I was going to measure using Adobe Professional. I was going to use it to measure this one here. Whoops. I wanted to zoom in, not measure. But in order for me to measure, I'd have to figure out how to put in this scaling in Adobe Professional, and I don't use this program often enough to do that. But this looks like it's much further in than 78 inches. But I can't, from the blueprint, I can't tell because on my screen it's not at scale, and I don't know how to convert 332 to equals 1 foot using what Adobe offers anyway. So I'm just going to eyeball it. You can see, whoops, you can see that it breaks right at the dormer. And again, that's not something that architectural is capable of. For this dormer, of course we haven't even put any dormers in the plan yet, but see the dormer is sitting right on that break, and there's no way architectural will ever build that roof because of the dormers. Now the rest of the roofs you can get close, but once you start putting the dormers in, the dormers cannot go right where they've got them drawn here. A dormer has to fit inside one single roof plane. It can't cross the boundaries between two different pitches. And I might be able to get the dormers in slightly above this break line, but not exactly like the plans show. Anyway, I'm going to continue. This wall back here, I'm going to open it, and we'll set it 3/6. I've already done that. And then in from the baseline, I'm going to set that at 78 so that we get symmetry around the porch. You notice with automatic roof, see how that line jumped back down? And now it's 312 to here, 612 the rest of the way up. But that was the main thing I could contribute with you using, architectural. I'm going to do the same. What did you draw that wall there for? Oh, you're trying to get it to stop. I get it. You were really trying anything and everything. I understand. So we'll set this again at 3 upper pitch. Well, actually, it's kind of stopping. I think. Oh no, that 3 is going on up roof. See, it's ignoring this wall here, so we might as well remove it. I'm going to delete that one and just close this back in. And I'm going to try to tell this to, we'll stop it at 72 inches. See if that helps at all. I think what I'm going to have to do is, yeah, there's a 312, there's 612, okay. But see how it follows that command, and it doesn't, if that isn't precisely set, then it's not going to do it, it's not going to get you what you want. Let's take a look at the model. I'm going to minimize this, see if that has actually helped us. I think it's closer to what it's supposed to be now. That goofy thing there is gone. I was getting that myself. Yeah, that's much better, nicer looking. See, what's not true is this. That's not supposed to be a hip roof there. There's supposed to be a gable there. Let's see if we can fix that. We ought to have a gable roof here, I believe. Let me check the blueprint. Back up. Yeah, it's supposed to be a gable and a gable, and a gable and a gable. Yeah, we don't have that. And since you're wrapping the porch around, that's a little bit past architectural's capabilities to do that. But I can do it in Chief Architect Premiere and then send it back to you. And you can continue working on it. You can't use automatic build roofs anymore because it would just screw up everything I did. But just using the tools within that are in with the capabilities of architectural, I got it closer than you had it. Like this roof here is not going to be ever be any steeper than whatever it said in the build roof dialog over here. Right, it's set to 6, and that's because most of the roofs on the house are 6. Now I'm going to turn off. Auto rebuild roofs because I think I've gotten it as far along as I can within architectural's capabilities. And what I'm going to do is now in Pro and in Chief Premiere, I can just click on roof panes and tell them what I want them to be. This is supposed to be 1212. I'm just going to change it to 1212. Home Designer Pro and Chief Premiere do this. I just open the dialog box and tell it to be 1212. Same thing here. I don't think you'd ever get that done in architectural or suite or landscape and deck design or interiors or essentials. See, I can just change the pitch, and we'll click on this and click on the Join Roofs tool, which again is only in Chief Premier and Home Designer Pro. See how easy that is with the right tools. We'll click here on this roof plane, on that edge, use the Join Roofs tool, and then join it to the other roof pitch. Okay, now that's more like what you wanted. Now there's supposed to be a gable end over here and a gable end over here. What I'm going to do is just this hip roof here, I'm going to delete it. So you can't select things to do this in architectural. And that's the way it is. Now I'm going to take this end here and just grab it and make it into a gable roof. In doing so, I messed it up a little bit. I'm going to take some of these corners out of here and get rid of them by dragging them to another corner. Oops, I didn't do that very well. Now this is beyond the capabilities of Home Designer Architectural, but it's well within the abilities of Home Designer Pro, and that's the reason I recommended it. I'm going to make this into a rectangle-shaped roof plane, and then join this edge to the other edge to form a gable. Okay, we'll go back to the camera, and you can see how this is developing. It still needs a little more work, but you get the idea. Now this one I'm going to do in a camera view. That plane there, it doesn't belong. I'm going to delete it. And then this one here, we'll stretch it out into a gable. And there's the other side. We'll stretch that out into a gable. Now I never use this dialogue. If you want to study the manual and practice with it, that's your business, but I never use it. In 20 years, I've never used this dialogue. I always say, don't show me again, and none of the above, go away. I'm going to go back to plan to straighten this end out. I'm hitting Control-Tab on my keyboard to flip between the plan view and camera view. But there's the edge of that gable. I need that to be perpendicular parallel. And we need some overhang over the porch there, so I'm going to set that to 18. That's this wall here. I'm going to do the same thing to the other edge of this gable. Excuse me. Yeah, and then we'll snap this. Like I say, Pro and Premiere do this like butter. Okay, I got a little more work to do. This is sticking out a little bit. Just going to zoom in and break this edge off. I'm using the break line tool. Again, this is a Pro only tool or Chief Premier. I'm going to put a break line in there and reshape the edge of it. Now I'm going to go back to the camera view so you can see what I just did. That's what I did. See how it was jagged before? And none of this you can do in Architectural Suite, Essentials, Deck Designer, and all the others. Just Pro and Chief Premier. Let me do this in the camera this time so you can see it. I'm going to use the break line tool to put a break there at this little ridge. And then I'm going to grab this edge here, try to keep it in line. Yeah, like that. I'm going to fix that up in plan view, because inevitably I'll pull things out of plumb and so forth doing it in a, oh, I got it straighter than I thought. Straighten that up. Yeah, this angle here is off a little bit. I want it to match that angle. Okay, we'll go back to the camera. Now, you notice that there's a wall missing here. Well, the software is very smartly made, but it's not smart. It doesn't notice that there should be a wall there. You have to do that. So what I'm going to do is, again, Shift F6 so you can see this develop. Shift F6. It's not working. Shift F6. How about tile vertically? No, it's not working. Try it again. Shift F6. Well, I never had this trouble before. There, finally got it. So you can see this in the camera view, and on this side, I'll work the plan view. So I'm going to go up to the attic wall. See this floor toggle tool here? I'm going to go up to the second floor, turn on the reference display, so I can see where to draw the wall. And it needs to go right here. It's not, well, for some reason it's not moving. Okay, wrong scroll bar. Okay. Now we'll go to the wall tool and just draw the wall in. Left click, drag. Of course, I don't want a brick wall there. So I'm going to open the walls dialog. Any of this that I'm doing right now, you can do in architectural. Easy peasy. We'll go over here to the general tab of that wall and tell it to be no room defined, no locate, and an attic wall, because I'm drawing it as an attic wall. And I don't want this brick up there. I think your house has siding, so I'm just going to choose siding 4 and click OK. And now I got siding up there. Whoops. Wrong side. See, there's a siding. Now I drew that there. One other thing I probably want to click on and make sure that it's lined up with the wall below. Whoops. I cut it off. I'm going to have to click on this roof plane here and pull it back a little bit. It's chopping into that wall some. Just a smidgen. Maybe another smidgen. It's hard to do in camera view to get those little... Oh, there we go. Now it's back. Now, you mentioned this hole over here. Well, have you noticed these walls, when I click on them, and I think you can get wall polylines in architectural. I'm clicking and then hitting the tab key. And see, if you click and then just grab this, you'll change the ceiling height in the room dialog. Because the first thing when you click is getting a room specification dialog, and I don't want to move that. I just want to move the wall polyline. So I'm going to hit the tab key. Now there's the wall polyline, and I just left click and drag on it and close the hole. Okay? The software is, like I said, is very smartly made, but it's not smart. You have to control it. You have to learn how to manipulate it and make it do what you want. Now we've got this. I've got this in here, but we're almost done. Of course, that little triangle there doesn't belong. I'm going to take it out manually. Over here on the plan view side, I'm going to go to the first floor, and then zoom in to the area of address, and turn the reference display off. It looks like those roofs are on the second floor. Yeah, here it is. Here's that triangle. I don't need that. I'm going to get rid of it by just dragging it out of there. And see, I'm not quite sure. Maybe it needs to come down to there. I'm watching the camera. No, it doesn't need to wrap around that corner, does it? I think ooh, that edge is jagged. I'm going to plumb it up using this tool here. You can see when I move the roof plane out of the way how the walls jump up, and that's the way it's programmed to work. Nothing's wrong. Okay, that's better. Now, I need to see the roof planes on the first floor. And they're down here. There's that one. There's a shed roof. There's the main one. That's this one here, by the way. I'm going to just drag that over. I think about, excuse me, about 18 inches past this wall here, I think will be right. Set that, well, it's measured to the other side, so I have to add 4 inches, so it'd be 22 inches. I wanted 18 inches from the outside side. I had to do a little math in my head. Now, there's that roof plane there. I'm going to get its edge and snap it to this one. I think this will look closer and closer to your house as Yeah, we're just about there. Let me back up over here. I think you'll agree that's quite a bit closer. Now I just have a little more cleanup to do. That break that I put in there, see, I need to move that up roof, and then that wall will that'll fill in. Okay, good. Now this wall here, is going to click on it and get the wall polyline, and open its dialog box and tell it to not be this brick stuff, but to be siding 4, like I did the other end. And it looks like it's lined up. And then we'll click here, get this wall polyline. I'm assuming this is a attic. Yeah, it's an automatically generated attic wall. So we'll just tell it to be the right kind of attic wall. Excuse me. Siding 4. And I clean up that little bit of it. I got one little artifact in there. It's bleeding in from down below, right there. See, it's that brick stuff. You wouldn't put brick over a porch like that. It's too much weight for the post to hold up. I'll make it siding 4. Yeah, that helped a little bit. What is that? Oh, that doesn't need to be up in there. See, it's another wall polyline. I'm just going to grab it and pull it down where it needs to go, and then that should get rid of that little, that little wart there. But I hear lots of new users saying that the software does, and why did it do? And you need to really get that kind of thinking out of your head, because it's counterproductive. This is just a tool. You learn how to operate it, and then it's surely just nothing but a tool under your hands. But until you learn the software, it seems like a mysterious, mischievous leprechaun that just won't do your will. And I understand that. I learned the software too. I've been using it for 19 years, but that's my opinion now. It's just another tool that I use to do fun things and also make a living. This wall here, I'm going to click on it and hit the tab key to get the wall polyline. We'll change this to siding. If it's supposed to be siding 6, we'll then change it to siding 6. That's not within the scope of my tutorial. And then here's another wall polyline. Click on it. Change it to the same. I'm just making them the same. If they're not correct, then you can fix that yourself. Okay. Let's look at the front. Now, I think this front gable, if I'm not mistaken, I think is brick. I don't remember. Yeah, that one's brick. And we got a couple of dormers. But unlike exactly the plan, you can see the break between the 312 and the 612 is right there at the base of the dormers, and that's not going to work in architectural. And there's no point in me showing you how to manually make dormers, since you can't do that in architectural, as far as I know. So I'm just going to use the dormer tool. Wrong scroll bar. Okay. I guess this wall here is probably supposed to be, boy, that's split up into a bunch of polylines. We'll open that one up and change it to siding 4. Like I say, if it's supposed to be siding 6, well, then you change it to siding 6. I'm not supposed to do everything. Now we go, well, keep them all consistently the same, even if they're consistently wrong. Okay. Oh, I got to fix the roof's the roof's chopping up my wall some here. I need to clean that up. I didn't notice that. And you wouldn't be able to fix that in architectural, so I'll fix it now. I need to let me tilt this up so you can see. I need to break this roof here. We'll use the break line tool right there at that valley, and then take this out from over there where it's goobering up the rest of the plan. And this edge, I need to just pull it down and until it kind of disappears. There's probably in your house what's called a roof saddle here. I'm not messing with that. You wouldn't be able to put a roof saddle in there except with Chief Premier or Home Designer Pro, and What do you want for a nickel? Okay, I think I've done pretty well just within mostly the tools that are available in Pro and architectural. Yeah, this I had to do in Pro or Premiere, and some of this other cleanup. And I just don't think architectural would ever give you this gable and all of these wraparound ports. It's too much to ask for a piece of software that just costs $200. Home Designer Pro costs $495, and you could any of this stuff that you've seen me do, you can do it with Pro. Okay, now the dormers. We'll zoom in over here. The same about the dormer tool. Oh, let's take a look at your dormers. I haven't really looked at them. Okay, they're 4 feet wide. 4 feet wide. Looks like about maybe 5 feet tall, and they got it looks like it got. That can't be 612, but it says 612. Okay, we'll set it to 612. I don't believe it. It looks like 312. Let's see if the pitch is called out on. No, it's not called out on the other one. Oh, fiddlesticks. That says 612, but I don't believe it. I've been doing this drafting work and design work for 35 years, and I can pretty much tell at a glance. That is not 612. That's 312. So that's not true. Even architects can make a mistake. So the first thing we want to do is not just go over here and try to build a dormer. You set the defaults for the dormer first. We'll go to default settings, dormer. And see, the pitch is set to 612. I want the pitch 312. That's what I think it is. We want the height at 60 inches. That's about what I guessed it at. And the width's set properly at 48. The wall type is probably correct. You're not going to put brick walls up on the top or in the middle of your house. It's too much weight. And so we'll leave the wall type siding 4, and we'll leave the rest of this alone. I think, but if you need to set your defaults up to help increase the probability that you'll actually get a dormer to work. If the defaults aren't set close to what you're going to need, then a dormer won't form. And I always forget which dormer tool to use. We'll go here to build roof. I think in this case we want auto floating dormer. If it doesn't work, then I'll try the other one. And just click on the roof there. To extend this wall up to make a dormer wall, must be, okay, wrong tool. Now when you click, even though a dormer didn't form, I'm going to make sure that a ghost of one didn't form, because if there is a ghost there, I need to get, yeah, that's what I mean by a ghost. That's potentially a dormer, but it's not a dormer. And also, you don't want the dormers showing on the first floor anyway. So I'm going to delete that. That's what I call those ghosts, because it's there in the plan, but it's not showing a dormer. What we want to do is move the roofs up to the attic. And I don't know if you can do that on architectural. You can do it in Pro and Premiere. I'm going to click on the roof and move it up one level up to the second floor. That way, the stupid dormers won't show in the first floor, and you get all kinds of error messages about walls being in the way, and this will be better for this sort of thing. I'm going to go over to this screen and go back to the build roof. Let's try auto dormer this time. On the left click, ceiling too low. Okay. I probably got another ghost there. Get rid of it. Maybe I should go up to this floor. We'll try the other dormer tool. If the conditions aren't right, then you won't get a dormer. If there's any lesson to be learned here, we'll try it here. Okay, I got a dormer. And it's got 312 pitch on it, and it's 4 feet wide, it's 5 feet tall. And as an object, see, this dormer can be moved down screen. Let me move it down. Right to the edge. That's where your plan shows the dormers are, down here. But it can't cross this edge here. That's never going to work. We can get close to it. 1 inch, I think 1 inch is okay. But you can't cross it. Your plan shows that being crossed, and that's not going to happen. Sorry. Let's go to your PDF. You should be able to adjust the spacing on this once I send the plan back to you. So I'm just going to get these close. You just get the 4-arrow thing there, and you can move it. Just don't move it across the edge of this roof plate. Let me show you what will happen. I'll pull it across there, and I'll get an error message. You know, it's basically just telling you that's the way it's programmed. Don't do that. So you get a ghost, and we'll pull that back, and magically it reappears. So that's just the way it's programmed. Maybe you'd like it programmed some other way, but it isn't programmed some other way. It's programmed that way. Okay, let's go to the PDF, see the spacing, and then I'll wrap this up. Okay, there's one over the front door and one over that window. Okay. So I'm going to close that camera view and make another one in a minute. I'm going to make the screen larger, turn on the reference display so I can see the first floor walls. We'll click on this dormer here. I got the window. There. And I was going to use the arrow keys, but you can't use arrow keys in any Home Designer program, so I'll just drag it over there. That's what you'll have to do. That's over the front door. Now I'm going to click on this and copy, paste, and play. So there's now two dormers in the same space. It's just telling me they're too close together. I knew that. I'm going to take the copy and drag it over to that window right there. That's fairly close. That's for all the money you're paying me. This is close enough. I'm just joking. I really enjoyed doing this. Now we'll get a camera, and I'm going to wrap this video tutorial up and send the file to you. And I hope if you're planning on adding on to this house in architectural, you're not going to do it because the only tools you have to make roofs in architectural are automatic roof tools. And I've already shown you that the automatic roof tools are never going to figure out this roof. But it's quite, once you learn the manual tools available in Pro, then I've shown you it's easy. Or easier anyway. Easier than working hours and hours and getting no product. So that's, now these windows, okay, they're probably not perfect. That's, you know, but you can click on the window and resize it. Let's see what this one, that one looks pretty okay. That's, we'll make that 48 by 32. 32 and a half is kind of an odd size. And 57. That's just the floor to top, whatever. I'm not sure what the software thinks is the floor to top is. We'll make this one just like it. That was 57, 48, 32. And don't be surprised these windows jump around. Well, they don't even look the same. Although the settings are the same. We'll just make them look the same. This software, you probably already know, this software is not perfect. It's pretty cool, but it's not perfect. And you just have to work with it and get the product that you want. There, that's fine. And I think you were talking about gaps like this. Well, again, it's a wall polyline. We'll just close it. Click on the wall polyline and close the gap. You can do that in architectural. But you have to know that, you have to have that knowledge in order that you can do that, and then you just click on it and fix it. Okay, that's as good as I'm going to make it for this free tutorial. Yeah, in your actual house, there's a roof saddle here instead of this dead valley, but that's, what do you want, like I say, what do you want for a nickel? I could put one in there, but then you'd have to upgrade to Pro to oh, I noticed one thing here. We got this half post here against the wall. That's kind of ugly. I'm going to click on that wall. Open the dialog box. Go to rail style and tell it to have no half post, and then it'll get rid of that thing against the wall. Because you probably don't have a half post. If you need a half post, and that's a great command. If you don't need a half post, it's a pain. Let's get rid of the half post in the back, and then we'll wrap this puppy up. I don't think there are any other half posts except right there. Yeah. We'll click on that wall, open the dialog box of that wall and tell it to have no half post. Now make that half post go away. A lot of this stuff is knowing what a half post is. You know, you can see that command and not understand what it's for because you didn't know what a half post was. Anyway, this is what you get for a nickel. I hope this helps you. But if you're planning on adding onto your house and changing the roofs and so forth, upgrade to Home Designer Pro. You're wasting your time with architectural or suite or essentials or interiors or landscape and deck designer. They don't all have automatic tools, and those automatic tools are limited. But they're certainly worth what you pay for the software. It's worth $495 to get a professional level of control over roofs. Okay, that's it. Thanks for your kind attention. I hope it helps everybody. Good night.